Welcome back, guys. It's been a while. It's been way overdue. So I wanted to just come back on here and try and give out some value, as it has been a long time and I've learnt a lot and I've experienced quite a lot over the past God knows how many months since I last uploaded. So yeah, before we get into it, my name is Moaad if you don't know me. I'm 23. I'm an engineer and quantity surveyor working in property development and renewable energy. I also run my own online brand called the Moaad Shaikhi Foundation. I wanted to tailor this video to those that genuinely want to know what it takes to change your life. And I've been there. It's not an easy thing to do, but everyone wants to do it. At some point, you need to grow, you need to evolve, and you may not know where to start or what it actually takes to change your life. You know, you're stuck in this dilemma of not knowing what to do, where to begin, what sort of advice to get, and you're just stuck in this whole cycle of wanting to be everywhere at the same time but moving nowhere. So before we get into it, let me picture my life to you and what it was like 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I was clueless, hopeless, didn't have a certain direction, didn't particularly know what I wanted to do in life, and it sucked. I didn't enjoy what I was doing. I was still in university, and it was just a whole lot of trouble, and it was just a mess. And I didn't particularly enjoy it. I didn't enjoy life. I didn't really look up to anything or anyone, to be exact. I didn't have any aspirations, nor did I have any goals. I was just existing. And you know, at 20, you just don't know what you particularly want to do. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like that today, not knowing where they want to go or not knowing what they want to do in life. And it's not an easy choice, to be transparent with you. It's not an easy choice to pick what you want to do in life and what you want to do for the rest of your existence. But the reality is, who has said that you need to have it figured out by 20, 21? You know, as a guy, you still have all the time in the world to kind of develop yourself and understand what sort of things you want to do in life. And this takes time. And luckily, you do have the time at that specific age. An average day for me back then would have looked less than average, I suppose. Like, I always worked out, but I let myself go. Didn't particularly train as hard. I didn't diet and I just did nothing to progress my life. I was just existing, you know, hanging around the wrong people and just basically going wherever the wind took me. And a lot of the time I used to feel very frustrated and just not well. I was annoyed at myself for letting myself go, but at the same time I felt like I was directionless. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I suppose my breaking point was one day I was in my uni accommodation thinking to myself, like, that's it, I've had enough. And if I stayed here much longer, I just wouldn't survive. And that's what took the move. So I moved back home and basically started all over again. Changed my university because I was going into my second year. And coming from an ethnic background, it's unacceptable not to go to university and graduate. So yeah, I had to go through that. I ended up pursuing it and managed to make it here. But I felt like I owed it to myself, and most importantly, I owed it to my parents. You know, my background's from Libya. My parents sacrificed a lot to get me here, and it wasn't easy. And being the oldest child, you've got a lot of expectations. And for a while, I wasn't fulfilling my promises and what was due of me. And for a lot of it, I was a disappointment. And there was a big risk if I stayed the same. Like I said, I don't think I would have survived. Who knows where I'd be right now. But I suppose the first step to taking the right direction and what it actually takes to change your life is the inner perspective has to shift. You need to actively pursue a better life. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I believe in manifestation and all, but you need to put it in your mind, and you need to basically, it needs to be the only thing you could be thinking about. It has to be on your mind. Like that, you kind of just start coming up with solutions to your problems. You start finding solutions to the things that you used to question. And from there, you can kind of start seeing little glimpses of hope that put you onto that direction of where you need to be. And that's where it started for me. I started seeking a better life. Mentally, that's all I was thinking about. That's all I cared about. Just becoming the best version of me. Fixing my life. Finding a purpose. Finding a passion. Something that made me wake up every day and be like, you know what? This is what I want to do. And I feel like right now I'm in a good space to talk about what I want to do. I mean, I still haven't figured it all out, but I have a direction of where my life needs to be. And all I know is right now I'm where I need to be. I may not be where I want to be, but I'm here now, and you've got to enjoy what you have going on right now. Part of me used to think that I would be happy once I've achieved certain goals, and it was okay to feel unhappy until then, but that's not necessarily the case. It's okay to feel happy right now, knowing that you're still not where you want to be, but you're pursuing it. That's the negative fallacy that we have of our current goals, where it's like, if you don't have them specific material attributes, then you shouldn't be able to be happy. And I know a lot of men feel this way, you know, you sacrifice everything and you try and work for a better future, but you don't particularly know when this reality is going to come together, and you just live in misery until that happens. But the reality is, like, you might just be living miserable forever, because nothing is guaranteed, you know. So that's why I want to shift the perspective of my viewers, to make you understand that it's okay to be happy where you are right now while still pursue the things that you want to achieve. And another thing you may be asking me is, how do you stay motivated? And the reality is, like, motivation is a feeling. If you rely on a feeling for the rest of your life, you'll only keep doing things based on your feelings. And feelings come and go. They're not consistent. And that's where the danger is, you know? So you need to develop discipline. You have to show up when you don't want to show up. Because in the real world of adulthood, you can't escape that. You still have to pay bills no matter how you feel. You still have deadlines no matter how you feel. Sooner or later you'll have kids, and you need to feed them no matter how you feel. And the world doesn't revolve around feelings, you know. It doesn't reward feelings. That's the truth. So you need to become a performer. No matter what you need to do, you still have to find a way to perform. There's no sugarcoating it. There is no hiding the truth. This is the brutal truth. You need to take it. You need to absorb it, and you need to start pursuing things and doing things no matter how you feel. And think about the hard times. You see, them hard times create character. And that's where the real treasure is, the hard times. I remember when I was failing in university, for example, like, I thought I would never be able to make past this, and I was just disappointed, upset, angry, and the whole lot. And I was working a terrible job, you know. I was wiping up machines and cleaning toilets whilst also working security just to make a little living for myself. And it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice, you know, getting harassed on the door, or people, you know, seeing you wiping up a sauna. Like, it was a humbling experience. But them hard times where I did struggle and I had no money in my pockets, they created the version of me today, the version that would rather be tired and fatigued than in need, you know. And I suppose that the reason why I have a lot of wisdom is through them hard times. And that's the real treasure, and you need to really, really take them in. That's what builds your character. And for every great story, there's hardship, and with hardship comes ease. So ride the waves of life, embrace the journey, embrace the struggles. Them struggles are very, very valuable, because they make you more valuable to the world once you overcome them. And you will, because bad times don't last forever, nor do good times. And now you might ask yourself, like, how long does it take? Or when do I start seeing my life change? And when do the results come in? And to be completely honest with you, it varies. Like, it depends how big your goals are. If you're gonna dictate it on materialism and going from zero to, I don't know, a millionaire, to be completely honest with you, for the first 2-3 years, it's gonna feel like nothing has changed, you know, because a lot of the time it's just you figuring it out. You don't have a clue what you're doing, especially when you're young. You wouldn't have a clue what you're doing, and that's okay, because you're learning. So for the vast majority of it is trial and error until you find something that clicks and opportunities start coming your way and things just start clicking. You've got to operate fast. When you start working on yourself, you need to start operating fast. That doesn't mean being patient. There's a difference here. Operating fast means execution. Execute fast, so you find out the results fast. Okay? If something is not meant to be or it's not working, execute on it. Don't have it think like in your head, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, execute, act on it. Because the sooner you realize or understand what's going on, the better. But if you keep it as a thought and then just leave it there, you never know what could happen. Yeah, it might fail, but at least you know. You now know a new way of not what to do to make it. Do you get me? So operate and act fast. Stop procrastinating. Stop staying stagnant. You need to try. You need to move. You need to educate yourself. Put yourself through experiences that are helping you grow. Key lessons that I learned that I wish I knew sooner were: genuinely seek out information. Speak to people. I used to think that I will just figure it out myself, you know. But if you do it that way, you're only going to learn from your experience. And that leaves you neglecting everyone else's perspective, everyone else's journeys, everyone else's mistakes, and you can learn from their mistakes. Other people's experiences are valuable too, because you can see that that's not worked, so why would I bother attempting that, you know? So learn from other people's mistakes, and especially people that are where you want to be. Look at your role models, your mentors, ask them, speak to them. What worked? What didn't work? Why didn't it work? Take on their lessons. Make them your own, so you don't waste time doing these silly mistakes. I wish I knew that sooner, because it would have saved me a lot more time. Another lesson that I learned was to get rid of my ego. You see, your ego stops you from experiencing things that you need to experience. Sometimes you need to experience humility. You need to suffer to see life in a different perspective. Some people only learn through experience, from actually trialing themselves. I'm one of them. I will put my hands up and say I am one of them. I'm not going to deny that. But being able to see that and learning that my ego was one of my biggest downfalls was critical for me, you know. It humbled me a lot. You don't perceive the world the same way you did. You don't overlook people, and you don't underestimate people either. It leaves you on a good common ground. Now, that doesn't say don't value yourself. There's a difference. Understand your value and value yourself, but don't let ego blind you, because it will take away opportunities. Sometimes you never know. You genuinely never know. Put it this way. I used to hate working on the doors, and I used to think that I was too good for it. Little did I know that I would meet my mentor, who would put me onto property development through the doors. Do you know what I mean? So if I quit, I don't know, a day earlier, I would have never met him. So it's little things like that. You just don't know when the opportunity may come. You have to stay patient and seek out that opportunity. Understand what you want and look for those people. You just never know where you meet them. So long as you keep seeking with desperation and with hope that one day you will meet them, and you have zero doubt about that. Like right now, the way I'm looking at this camera, I envision my reality. I see that I will become what I want to become, and I have zero doubt in my mind, by the will of Allah, zero doubt in my mind that I will get there. And to end this video, my final bit of advice that no one will tell you. The reality is, it is a lonely path, because there's going to be a medium where you are far too into the journey to be hanging around the old people, but too new to the journey to be hanging around the people you want to hang around. They might be too successful for you, but you already know that the people you were hanging around with before are a problem, and it gets very lonely, and you've got to be willing to embrace that. Sometimes it's okay to be lonely. Now, humans are not meant to be lonely. We're not a species that is meant to survive alone. The word human in Arabic, insan, comes from the word uns, which means unity. We strive as a unit. We're not meant to be just individuals. So you need to put that in board. But before that, you need to become best friends with yourself. You see, the relationship with yourself is going to be one of, if not the most important relationship you'll make. You need to perceive yourself in a good light. You need to love yourself. You need to value yourself. And that's not to say that you're going to become an arrogant person from it, but it will save you from accepting mediocrity. And mediocrity is one of the biggest reasons why we still don't grow. We just accept a mediocre standard for ourselves. You wouldn't treat someone else like that, so why would you treat yourself that way? Ask yourself that question. Why would you accept mediocrity to yourself? Why would you want to live in a mediocre manner, you know? If you have the capabilities of achieving greatness, why wouldn't you strive for that if that's still an option? And it is for everybody who's watching this, because you're still alive, you're still watching this video. So long as you're still alive, there's still hope. But this is it from me. It's been great to come back on here and share my thoughts and opinions, and I hope to continue to do this. I will be hopefully gathering a team to help me make my content real soon. So hopefully it'll be better quality, but more importantly, just more content. But yeah, guys, it's been your boy Moaad. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys really, really soon. Take care.